What's going on YouTube? So the BMW X7 has really been killing it on the sales chart over the past few years.
And BMW aims to keep that momentum up for 2025 by adding some impressive tech this year.
So, is this the luxury 3-row SUV most worth your $100,000? Well, let's go ahead and find out. All right, you know what time it is? It's time for our spec dump right here from the beginning. So under the hood for the 2025 X7, you'll see the same engine options. This is the 40i model, which is a 3-liter turbocharged inline 6-cylinder. Power output is 375 horsepower and 383 pound-feet of torque, paired to an 8-speed automatic transmission with all-wheel drive, making 22 miles per gallon combined.
Now, of course, we'll be talking about those other powertrain options and get our sound level reading going 55 miles per hour later in the test drive part. And then after that, we're also going to be discussing 2 new elements we're integrating into our reviews: potential resale value and reliability.
But first, we're going to go ahead and close up the hood because a big part of that luxury SUV experience is the exterior design as well as the interior luxury. Now, starting off our exterior tour here with the front design, we're not going to notice any changes for 2025. This was recently refreshed. Now, in terms of this model, we have the standard version. You can also get an M Sport model. We reviewed that in past years if you want to take a look at what that's like, but basically it blacks out a lot more elements and makes the lower fascia a little bit more aggressive. Now, let's turn our attention to the headlights though. This is something I really want to talk about because, well, Mason, get close. Look at that. We actually have the available crystal LED headlights. So these are real crystals embedded inside of this top part of the headlight cluster. Really, really cool and obviously very bougie overall. So this is your daytime running light and your turn signal indicator with those crystals. The main headlight unit is separated below. These are adaptive full LED headlights. Now, of course, moving to the rear design, we continue to have just a classy look overall.
Yeah, I love the way this vehicle looks. And as far as features, we do have an exposure wiper, a spoiler up top, and Drew's hopping inside to see if all of the taillight elements are LED. So as you can see, we have a LED brake light portion, LED reverse light, and we have a kind of dynamic turn signal indicator, as you would expect out of a luxury SUV. 3 elements are LED. Then as we drop down to this lower fascia area, this is just the luxury version of the X7, so we have a little bit more tame of a diffuser area. However, we're still going to have trapezoidal exhaust outlets. If you choose the M60 model, you're going to have quad exhaust outlets, and your tow rating for this 40i is 7,500 pounds.
Now, as you'd expect, you've got a ton of different choices when it comes to wheel options, going all the way up to 23-inch alloy wheels. We're slightly below that with these optional 22-inch alloy wheels, but have to say, really love the way these look with the multi-spoke arrangement. Now, as we move on beyond that, come up to our mirrors. These, of course, are fully loaded with all the features. So you have auto dimming, power folding, blind spot monitoring, as well as heating.
Now, here at the side of the X7, you might have thought this was an X5 until you get here, because you can see how long this vehicle is. 203.3 inches in overall length, which is a good size for this full-size segment. Now, I do want to point out you have chrome all in this lower area because we do have the more luxury-oriented model. It would be blacked out if you get the M Sport. And in terms of your safety systems for this X7, you do get some standard features. However, most of them are going to be included in the Driver Assistance Professional package. And we do have a change here for 2025. So last year they added the highway assist function for hands-free driving at speeds of up to 85 miles per hour. And this year they're adding the lane change assist. So that's certainly a very cool feature on this flagship luxury SUV. But guys, there's a fabulous cabin to show you on the inside, so let's dive into that. But first, if you're new here, we're brothers, and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We may be young, but we love cars.
And we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family. Let's learn a lot, have some fun with all the latest cars.
All right, now on to the interior. First, we'll take a look at the key fob. This is the latest and greatest BMW key fob half metal, half piano black. You do of course have standard smart entry. We also have remote start on the fob, and you can use your phone as a key as well with the digital key system. Now, getting in, just grab behind the handle. That's going to unlock your door. And then take a look inside the interior. Now this model we have today is highly optioned, so we have a very exquisite interior, and that begins with our seats. So standard on this model is going to be your Sensafin faux leather, but that's not what we have today. We actually have the extended merino leather option, which is going to, of course, give you beautiful merino leather on your seats. So we've got lots of quilting details, perforation, you've got some color contrast piping, very soft and supple feeling leather, and it looks fantastic, especially when it's finished in the ivory white we have here. But of course, you're gonna have a wide selection of other options as well. Now the seat adjustments, standard is going to be a 16-way power adjusting seat. You have the 4-way lumbar, you have power thigh extension, stuff like that. You can also get the executive package, and that will give you power massage and a few additional adjustments as well. And then you've got your memory seats located right there on the door trim. But let's go ahead and climb inside. Now I will point out, if you fail to close the door, you do have the soft close option on this model. And let's look at the overall cabin materials. So on our door trim, of course, we're going to have pretty much the whole thing covered with leather. You have the matching ivory white through here. We have a black leather along the top. I will point out we have the optional leather covered dashboard. So you've got the genuine leather that goes all across the top here with the stitching detail. You're going to have a wide selection of different wood trims you can get. We've got a high gloss option. You've got this light bar that runs through the center, which does light up when you enter and exit the vehicle, as well as respond with the voice assistant. And then down below, we've got a lot more wood, a lot more leather. Everything just feels absolutely luxurious inside of this model. But let's go ahead and fire it up with our push button start. Now that everything's all fired up, let's begin touring basically the individual features. We'll start with our gauge cluster. This is BMW's Cockpit Professional System, standard 12.3-inch full digital setup, fully reconfigurable, of course. One of the nice things about the X7 is that it actually does come standard with a head-up display, so you'll always have the additional screen up there in your windshield. Now as we pull back, you'll go past your rain sensing wipers to the standard heated leather-wrapped steering wheel. Two different designs on this depending on if you got the M Sport or not. It is also going to have standard power adjustment. And once again, I said it is heated, but also the armrests are going to be heated to go along with that heated steering wheel. Now, let's open up our center console here. Inside of that, you'll notice that we have some stuffed donuts inside. That's because this is car confections, and we like to test the volume with the donuts. Inside of this, we can fit 7 donuts, which is a pretty decent amount for this segment, although this is not going to be a cavernous center console. You do still have some additional storage, though, underneath of this piece of wood. So this is where your standard wireless phone charging pad will live. You also have a little rubber area over there, a couple cup holders, and some USB connections. Now the shifter is nice and compact. You'll notice that it is shimmering in the light. That's because we have the available glass shifter as well as this control. For drive, just pull down to D. You do have paddle shifters on the steering wheel as well. Press up to R for reverse, and that's where we have our 360-degree camera system pop up on most models. You do need to get the parking assistance package for this, but like I said, most people will choose that option. You also have the ability to spin around the vehicle in the full 3D view, which is really cool. And then of course, just press the P right there for park. You have an electronic parking brake, you have brake hold, and then these are your drive modes. Now as we move past all of these buttons to our audio controls here, we have a real treat for you guys. This actually today comes with our 20-speaker Bauer & Wilkins sound system. This is the highest end system that you can get here on the X7. It has 1500 watts. So let's go ahead and play a sample so we can hear just how good this is. Yeah, overall definitely has a really rich sound. It just sounds fantastic in here, really fills up the cabin well. Also, Mason was looking over there just a second ago at those beautiful speaker grills. That almost makes it worth it just by itself. All right, now let's move in to our main display. And first of all, we'll talk about our climate controls because that is what's going to be built into the bottom of this display primarily. So over here, this is where you can make adjustments, of course, to your driver and your passenger controls. But this system actually, or this vehicle, excuse me, has the available climate package, which includes 5-zone automatic climate control, which is incredible. You can get into the rest of those settings by clicking that button, and you can go through all the different zones and customizability, but definitely incredible to have the 5 zones. Now, in terms of the other things I want to point out, that's how you get to your heated seats. Those will be standard. Ventilated seats will come with that 5-zone option of climate. In terms of our main display, 14.9 inches. This is running the latest version of iDrive, which is 8.5 at this point. You have all the newest graphics on board. You have built-in navigation. Android Auto and Apple CarPlay both run wirelessly as well. Up top, standard auto dim mirror with HomeLink remotes built in. Also standard is the panoramic sunroof. You have the available option though of getting the Sky Lounge, which lights up at night. As you can see, you've got a fast moving sunshade. We have the metal speaker grills up here on the roof, as well as the option of the Alcantara headliner.
Now let's go ahead and talk about the rear seat area in this BMW X7. Of course, that's the reason why you buy an X7 over something like an X5. So let's dive in. We're sitting at about 38 inches of legroom, about 40 inches of headroom. The headroom figure is very, very impressive. Now the legroom figure is going to be less than some of the rivals that you may be cross-shopping with. It's pretty much on point with GLS. However, it's going to be less than something like an Escalade, for instance. That being said, I'm 5'9". This seat is adjusted to Drew, who's 5'8", and we still have a very solid 7 inches of additional knee space, so plenty of room overall. My feet can also easily slide up underneath of the seat. Speaking of the seats themselves, these are the optional captain's chair setup. So you can, of course, get bench seating if you prefer. However, the captain's chairs certainly elevate the overall rear experience because you get this nice armrest. You also get a absolutely phenomenal pillow. This thing is very, very comfortable, dangerously comfortable. Now, also on the side, you will notice that we do have power adjustment. That's actually standard equipment on every single X7. So you can power adjust your second row seats forward and back and do the recline as well. As far as features are concerned, here in the center, we do have vents as standard equipment. We have the 5-zone climate, so that does mean we have 2 different zones of climate here in the second row. We also have the optional heated rear seats, which are included in that same climate package. More storage down below that, 2 USB ports, and you're also noticing that we do have cup holders built into this area. As you can see, it does fit the Stanley water bottle, so that's actually a perfect spot for it. More USBs in the seat back themselves. And then turning to the door trim, let's talk about this. If you push the button on the very top, that's going to control your power rear sunshades. This is also an available feature here on the X7, but you can control that, and you can also even control the panoramic sunroof shade. So in case the sun's getting a little bit in your eyes, you can shut everything up and have a very exquisite rear experience. But one of the best parts about the X7 is the third row. So let's check that out. In order to get back here, you just grab this little lever right here. When you do so, the seat will sense that you want to get into the third row, and it's going to go ahead and start this whole power process. So certainly it may take a little bit longer than, just kind of a traditional folding mechanism, but you don't have to do any work. So no worries on the muscles or whatever if you don't have them. Now, getting into the third row itself, I do want to point out you only have 2 rear seats back here, so no third seat, but wow, this third row is so nice. Now we're sitting at around 33 inches of leg room, about 36 inches of headroom, so the headroom is going to be a little bit on the smaller side, but the leg room is really good. This seat is all the way back, and with it all the way back, I still have even additional about 2 inches of space. My feet can slide up underneath the seat. The thigh support, fantastic, and the seat itself, incredibly comfortable. Now let's talk about features. We have a cup holder here on the left side, but all of your features are really going to be located in this panel right here. It may be hard for the camera to see, but we have our 5th zone of climate, so I can adjust my own temperature here in the 3rd row. We also have 3rd row heated seats, so that's very, very premium to have the 3rd row of seat heating. And we're, of course, also going to have our own moonroof. I kind of showed you that in the front section when Drew was talking about the pano style, but you have your own moonroof, so you're not sitting back here in a dark hole. Now, we also have vents coming out of the ceiling here. So overall, how it rates on the 3rd row rating scale, I'm going to say this is fit for a king. Walking up to the tailgate, as you would expect out of a flagship luxury vehicle, a power setup is standard equipment. Also, the X7 features the 2-part opening design, which is fantastic for tailgating and those type of activities. Now, as far as the space is concerned back here, let's go ahead and talk about this. Hopefully I can try and throw that there before the wind blows it away. We're going to be sitting at around 14 cubic feet of space behind the 3rd row of seats. And then as we fold those seats down, we're going to have 49 cubic feet of space, and then around 90 cubic feet with all the seats folded as a maximum. Now, that's a pretty good amount of space. That is a bit larger than Mercedes GLS. It is less than something like an Escalade, though, so keep that in mind. Now, in terms of features, over here on the side, we have a lot of buttons. You may be overwhelmed by how many buttons we have, but they have these 2 simple buttons right here, which I really like. Push that, max cargo, and magically, all of your seats are just going to go ahead and start this whole system of folding down and getting you the maximum amount of space that you have available. You can also push the button in the max people and get all of the seats folded up. Now, one of the things I do want to point out is that I don't believe these 2nd row seats will fold completely flat. So do keep that in mind. The power ability does limit some of your practicality aspect of this vehicle, that's for sure. Now, I do want to go ahead and get the overall cargo length. For this, I'm just going to go straight in the center to the climate controls and see how long it is. About 83 inches of overall length. From behind the 2nd row of seats, we are going to be sitting at around 49 inches of length. And then as far as the cargo opening, about 43 inches. That's a little bit narrow for a vehicle in this segment, but overall, pretty practical for most families. And then underneath of the cargo floor, you're going to find actually quite a lot of additional space. So keep in mind that you can use that area if you're short on space. Well guys, here we are behind the wheel of the 2025 BMW X7. In this test drive, we're going to be discussing, as you can see on the screen right now, quite a few different things, including getting our sound level reading to see how quiet this flagship luxury SUV is. But first, we're going to go ahead and start with a hard acceleration.
All right, it's a quick punch of the accelerator there, and that's all it takes to get you to about 60 miles an hour. Certainly very quick, especially when you consider that the 40i, as we discussed in the spec dump, is your basic engine option here with the X7. So to remind you of the power figures, again, this is a 3-liter turbocharged inline 6-cylinder, making 375 horsepower and 383 pound-feet of torque. This is also paired with a 48-volt mild hybrid system.
Yeah.
And it is just silky smooth.
Yeah. This is a fantastic engine pairing for this X7. You might be concerned, this is the base motor that you get in the X5 as well. So being in a bigger application with the X7, you might be worried about the power figures, but absolutely don't be. There is more than enough power for this vehicle, and it is just so smooth, so effortless, the acceleration. Absolutely love this engine setup. I love the B58, if you haven't already figured that out here on this channel. Now, as far as other options, you can get a more powerful setup. The M60 is going to get you quite a bit more power. That's a 4.4-liter twin-turbo V8. Also has the mild hybrid system as well. 523 horsepower, 553 pound-feet of torque. Those are the only two options for the X7. That's going to cost quite a bit more, as you might expect. 0 to 60 on that is 4.5 seconds, but I want to compare it to this 40i. That comes in at 5.6 seconds. So really only about a second difference between those two powertrain options. We've driven both of them. The V8 is certainly very, very nice as well, but it's not necessary by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, honestly, it's kind of more of an auditorial experience where you get that growl of the V8, but the B58 has a really nice sound as well. Now, as far as the other element to the powertrain, we have an 8-speed automatic transmission. Nice and smooth with this transmission as well. As you'd expect, you know, really the emphasis on something like an X7 is having a supreme luxury experience. So everything just kind of operates nice and smoothly together. The hybrid system, you don't really notice that at work either. It's all just very seamless.
Yeah, you do also have standard X-Drive all-wheel drive, as you might expect from a flagship, and that does mean that you only have 2 fuel economies. For the 40i model, you're sitting at 22 miles a gallon combined, and then the M60 is going to come in at 18 miles per gallon combined, which honestly, neither one of those figures are really that bad, considering how much power you're going to have. I think that's kind of the beauty of having that mild hybrid set up to boost your fuel economy up a lot.
Right, that helps your fuel economy. It powers kind of an advanced auto start-stop system, which can you know, shut off more often, and does also give you a little bit of a boost, you know, when you need that power. All right, we're in sport mode, guys, for a sport mode acceleration.
Ooh, nice. I love it.
Wakes up the sound as well.
Yeah.
That's what I was talking about earlier. It does have a great sound. You just can't really hear it that much in comfort mode.
But now that we're back in comfort mode, we are on our designated strip of road to get our, that rhymes, to get our sound level reading going 55 miles per hour. I'm expecting a good reading. It just kept dropping on us there. I gave it a little bit extra time, and the reason I did that was because it's very windy outside today, so I wanted to make sure there wasn't like a huge breeze or whatever going on. And our final result 49.2 decibels. It kept dropping. It was in the 50s, wow. And then, you know, for a few seconds there, it was at the 49 level. Wow. I mean, we just tested out actually a 25 X5 as well. I think it was sitting at a very similar sound level reading to this, and that really just makes it one of the quietest, if not the quietest vehicle that we've ever tested out on this channel. It just goes to show you that BMW has paid a lot of attention with these X5 and X7 luxury SUVs on making the cabin just incredibly quiet. Like I said, it is so windy outside. I mean, like
you can't hear it at all, though. I hear no wind noise. It's pretty crazy.
I mean, it really is next level. So that is impressive. If you want to check out all of our other sound level readings on all of the this vehicle's competitors, you can do that on carconfections.com/sound level readings. We've posted all the cars that we review on this channel, which certainly is a lot, and we've been in all of this vehicle's competition, but I don't even have to look. 49 decibels is going to put this as king of the segment. Now, combined with that amazing sound level inside the cabin is an amazing ride quality as well. So let's dive into this very quickly. For a flagship luxury SUV, you expect a high level of ride quality comfort, and I am finding it here in this vehicle. With the X7, you have standard air suspension, which is going to give you that highest level performance with when it comes to hitting a bump. It just really does a phenomenal job. Even with the large wheels that we have on this tester today, I have zero complaints. This is one of the best riding vehicles money can buy, period. And I will say it does have a little bit of a different feel than something like an Escalade. If you're cross-shopping between the two, the Escalade is kind of a truck-based platform, and this is a crossover-based platform. So really the main difference I think you're going to notice with that is a little bit smoother of a ride quality here with the X7 versus even something like an Escalade with the air suspension.
Yeah, being unibody definitely does help in that regard. Also, the other big thing about having the air suspension is that it is adaptive. So when you press sport mode, for example, that firms the suspension up. It's going to give you better dynamics when you're out there, you know, doing corners, carving up a canyon, I guess you could do with your X7, and it would be capable of doing that.
Let's also dive into our Car Confections Slam Dunk and Airball. Favorite element, least favorite element. Drew, kick us off with the Slam Dunk.
The Slam Dunk will just be the overall luxury experience. It's really a well-packaged vehicle, especially in terms of just how many crazy luxury features you can buy. You know, you can stay on the lower end if you want to, or you can customize this with all types of just incredibly fancy high-end luxury features. It's really up to you.
On the Airball side of things, what we're going to say is some of the practicality elements. The second row being fully power, of course, has its benefits, but the fact that it doesn't fold flat is kind of a big issue in this segment, especially if you're looking to load in something long. All the rivals will give you that functionality for the most part, especially if you're looking at something like an Escalade. And 4-year warranty, if you're looking to buy one, it's going to be a 4-year, 50,000 mile basic and powertrain. You do also get 3 years of complimentary maintenance, which is a big benefit for a flagship luxury SUV. And let's talk pricing for the X7. You didn't expect all this to come cheap, and actually the X7 does have a more affordable price tag than you might expect. We're going to be starting at around $83,500 for this base 40i model. Now, of course, as you go up the engine configurations, that price does inflate. Or if you select all the options like what we've done on today's tester, we're sitting at $104,260 as tested today, which still is some less than some rivals like the Cadillac Escalade. But if you're looking to buy a BMW X7 or any new vehicle, we would encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes. Now, the reason you do that is because we have a tool on our website that will connect you with local car dealers in your area to get you the best price on your new vehicle. It's also going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool for dealership negotiation. If you'd like to take advantage of that, a link is provided in our video description, and there's also a pinned comment at the top of this video. Now let's talk about predicted resale value and reliability. First up, let's talk about resale value to make sure you are making a smart purchase. Now, as an economics graduate myself, Drew and I took the time to develop what we think is a good estimate for this BMW X7's potential resale value. We estimate that after 5 years and 60,000 miles, this X7 will be worth around 41.1% of its original MSRP, and after 10 years and 120,000 miles, around 15.3%. Now, it's worth noting that it is going to be on the lower end when it comes to resale value percentage. However, it's right on par with something like a Mercedes-Benz or Audi product, and luxury vehicles tend to have lower resale values in general.
We've also done the same for potential reliability by developing the Combined Reliability Index, which takes into account several studies from across the industry and combines them in a way that is more useful. In this metric, BMW ranks right at the industry average against all other vehicle makes.
Now, if you'd like to check out all of our data about reliability and resale values, as well as learn about our methodology, make sure to head to carconfections.com/resale and carconfections.com/reliability. Buying a car is a very big decision, and you want to make sure you're making a smart one, especially if you're cross-shopping between different vehicle brands. And guys, that's it for our in-depth review of the 2025 BMW X7. If you enjoyed watching this video or found it helpful in your purchasing decisions, we would really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button down below. By subscribing, not only are you going to get more car reviews like this, you're also going to join in and be a part of our Car Confections family. We have a lot of fun on this channel that I'm sure you won't want to miss out on, and of course, all the latest automotive news. We'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.